If you are a millennial, then you have definitely bumped into such a situation. You have a buddy with Wi-Fi at home and heaps of cool apps on his phone. You ask him to send some of those apps to you via Share It, and once you get them, you start installing them, and then in the middle of the excitement, some of the apps that you decide not to install. All you get is a simple app not installed or failed to parse file. Well, let me take you through 6 of the more common reasons why apps fail to install on some phones sometimes. Just to be clear, we're looking at Android users here. Apple users, you're looking at me right now saying, man, these are Android people problems. First up is one more elementary one, and it's pretty easy to fix. How this will happen is you'll get an app through Share It or some website online, or even copy it from your PC to your phone. You try to install it and you get an error that says can't install an app from an unknown source. This one actually gives you an option to allow installation of an app from an unknown source. All you just do is click a button which will take you to the settings. Scroll to the part with the option to allow installing an app from an unknown source and you're good to go. Note that unknown sources are any sources that are not the Google Play Store. That's just it. Second most common one, especially in Africa, is where you buy a phone without Google Play services. Now, a number of apps need Google Play services so that they are able to access some of the features that they need to run. Without Google Play services, the app will not know how to navigate the operating system of the phone and actually gather resources it requires. So when installing it, it will give you an error saying you need to install the latest version of Google Play services for this app to run. You'll more commonly get such an error from like gray phones or clones that are sometimes made by small companies without a budget to pay for licenses to run Google Play services. The only way to escape this one is to just buy a genuine smartphone. The third one is the software version of your device, and this problem is affecting a lot of you guys that want to install our TechZim app. Our TechZim app allows you guys to buy airtime for any network using EcoCash, as well as for paying your DSTVs using Zim dollars. It's a cool app that you guys can search for in the Google Play Store by searching TechZim Market. It's just 2 megabytes. What happens is, when developers develop these apps, they may have some features in the app that only work well with newer versions of Android. Some developers also want to minimize compatibility issues with hardware like the screen configuration and the processor's power. At times, they simply want to satisfy the Android versions with the biggest number of people or the biggest clientele. A developer might be fine with just 90% of everyone being able to use their app, and as for the 10%, shame. In very rare cases, some apps cannot initially work on the latest and greatest versions of Android, but developers usually patch that up in a jiffy and send updates. So if you want to ensure that you do not get this type of error, just buy a smartphone that is running a popular operating system. For example, right now, if you get anything with Android 7.0 and above, you're good to go. The fourth one is parse error. This one has a bunch of causes to it, so I'll just sprint through them. A certificate may have expired, meaning that the phone cannot verify the app, and so has no clue if the app is safe or not, and just decides to play it safe and not install it. The other is the app itself may be corrupted during download or while it was stored on some storage media like a flash, so corrupted files don't install. The last one under this parse error is the app may be manufacturer specific. So if I send my Huawei music player to someone's LG, it won't install because certain manufacturers put certain hardware in their phone that's proprietary to them. So if you try to install this app on another manufacturer's phone that does not have that same hardware, it just can't work. And this hardware limitation takes us to the fifth one, which is hardware limitations. So some apps have specific hardware requirements, and if your phone does not have the relevant hardware, it just won't work. An example is the Aircon remote app. Unless if your phone has like an infrared blaster, you will not be able to use the app. Now, hardware limitations do not really stop you from installing the app, but it might crash as soon as you try to open it or as soon as it tries to perform the task you downloaded it for. And the sixth one, which is much less common, but hey, it happens. Some apps are set to only be downloaded in certain regions. If you're outside of that region, you actually may not find the app in the Play Store. If you manage to find it and try to download it, you will get a message saying the app is not available in your country instead of like that install button. It's also pretty simple to bypass. Just install a VPN, set the country to the one where the app actually is available, and you're good to go. So really, there are just two things you need to ensure that you are safe from these frustrating errors. The first one is buy a genuine smartphone, not a clone, not an imitation. Number two, try as best as you can to buy a phone that's not more than 4 years old. There you go, 6 common cases of apps not installing or running. The more you know, right? Speaking of the more you know, Techsim airtime will be discounted till the end of 2019. Just save the number that's on the screen right now and send the message Xmas or Christmas for an interesting surprise. Bye.